himself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Newhoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
Say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And it definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still start trouble. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
On to the back end of Phil Jocelyn, so there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot have fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching the Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
Standing out from the crowd is a challenge. You have the passion, courage, and ambition to do something extraordinary. You have an awesome story to tell and a wonderful vision to share with the world. At Eddie Videos, we take that vision and turn it into reality so you can be heard above the rest. You need something different, and we give you the ultimate advantage. We can help you transform your ideas, images, and clips into a professional video that brings your message to life and sets a new bar for excellence. Visuals, voiceovers, editing, animations, whatever you need, we've got it all. If you're a new business looking to make your mark or an experienced company searching for something new and amazing, we're here to help. Trust us to take your video to amazing levels of awesomeness.
Coming down.
Does he have it? Medeiros is going to get it. He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry!
Hello everybody and welcome to Laguna Seca for round 5 of the Radical Race Series here this evening. We've seen a very good season so far that's taken us all over the place, namely Alton Park last week, Not Kill the week before. It's been a very mixed schedule so far, but there's 3 American circuits coming up in the next 5 weeks now, starting here at Laguna Seca this evening with, first of all, an 11-lap sprint race and an 18-lap feature race coming up a little bit later on. My name's Ewan O'Leary alongside James Parfitt here for the evening. Once again, we're looking forward to more Radicals action in a season that has been absolutely fantastic so far, and the reigning champion John McCutcheon has certainly made that title, or he's made himself worthwhile in that title certainly, because he's been having a great season so far, and Simon Edwards is coming off a week off as of last week, so be interesting to see how they both get on, as will everybody else here tonight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting one. Laguna Seca, naturally a track that people do enjoy. The corkscrew is going to cause some problems. We've seen that already in practice, and I expect to see it throughout the race, to be honest, as well, because if you get that wrong, you are going to be going round. If you're going too deep, you're going to be going off onto the grass, onto the gravel, I should say, or sand on the right-hand side. And then at the end of the day, it is going to be tough for these guys. We've got 18 cars on track here as well. So let's see how this one pans out.
Yes, let's see how it goes. Let's see how the championship standings are looking as well after 4 rounds. This is with 1 drop week applied. Remember, there will be 3 drop weeks applied by the time we get to round 12 and the end of the season. John McCutcheon is leading by 16 points ahead of Simon Edwards, who has 2 of the wins so far, but obviously that 0 point score so far has just put his total points a little bit down, although the drop week saving him. Mike Poussin is benefiting from a reverse excuse me, not a reverse grid, that's totally different. A drop round here, and so he's up to third. Jamie Bird and Seth Brown are both inside the top 5. Expect Luke Maxwell to climb through the standings throughout the season as well, though he's only 6th for the moment. Damien G is in 7th, ahead of Colin Wynn, then Paul LeMay and Paul Godden rounding out the top 10. Robert Woodward is in 11th, ahead of Darryl Taylor, who's tied with Michael LeMay there for 12th position. George Gonzaga and Phil Jocelyn round out the top 15 with James Child, Phil Glover and Wayne Palmer there in the top 18. David Rodston, David Beasley inside the top 20. Graham Brown 21st. Sergio De La Cruz will probably climb the order through the series as well, as long as he participates in more rounds. Same with Paul Crabb, Martina Ward 24th, ahead of Tim Adcock, Chris Max Davis, Eric Brawley and Scott Lear, the 28 drivers who have scored points so far in this season. But yeah, it's an interesting situation. The current topping the times is Luke Maxwell by quite some distance as well, and he's going to lead some good performances so far this season, because a lot of his drop weeks are going to be rounds that he's just not appeared at, which is fair enough, because he couldn't have raced on those particular nights. But even so, it puts more pressure on the ones where he is hit, because it means that pretty much every round where he is actually driving, it will actually count towards his points total, which doesn't tend to lend itself to a great championship position. But with a good few results, Luke Maxwell could very much get up there.
Yeah, he definitely can. It's Luke Maxwell at the end of the day, isn't it? It's not. We're not talking about someone slow. We're not talking about someone who's got a low I rating or trouble at every track. We're talking about Luke Maxwell, and at the end of the day, we know he's quick. He's got the pressure on him, because obviously he has got to score points every time he's here, and he's got to do it well. And I think that's the thing for Luke here, to basically figure it out. I'm sure he will. I don't have any doubt about him. I'm not really worried about Luke Maxwell, to be honest. Whether or not he'll be in the championship fight, I don't think, with the amount of rounds that he's going to miss, whether or not that's possible. But we will only see. Time will tell. As he starts his outlap, we'll see how he gets on. But I think it's going to be an exciting race, as it always has been here as well. And I think, we're going to see close side-by-side battling. Maxwell, Edwards and McHutchinson weren't very far apart in practice, and I don't expect them far apart in qualifying either. But the interesting thing will be how they manage that corkscrew. I think that's going to be the one that people have got to get right. And if they don't get it right, it's going to be good night Vienna.
We've seen a lot of incidents in practice already through the corkscrew, which is such a difficult corner, and we speak about that as if it's the only corner on the circuit, and sometimes that's not really just, because a lot of this circuit elsewhere is very, very difficult. I mean, the corner before the corkscrew, I find sometimes quite a lot more difficult actually through turn 6 there, because you're trying to get such a good run up the hill there. You can run out wide so easily. It causes me more problems. But anyway, the corkscrew is what's really caught a lot of people out in practice, certainly. I mean, I don't know how long I watched the last 15, 20 minutes maybe of practice, and I saw upwards of 5 people off the road through there. I wonder whether it's going to be the same during the race, because after all, people are concentrating a bit more than maybe in practice, especially towards the end of practice, where people might have been in there for a while. They might have been losing concentration. Now that they've got themselves psyched up for the race again, I'm not sure we're going to see people falling off the road there quite with the frequency we did in practice.
Well, it's just so easily done. I think that's the thing. If you miss your braking point going up the hill from 6 and you don't brake early enough, then you're going to be in the gravel on the right hand side. If you do brake early enough and then you go through the corkscrew and you either touch your brake or try and hit the accelerator to try and get speed through the second half of it, there's a nasty bump in the middle, so you could end up spinning up going round, like we saw from David Rolliston in practice as well, where he was going through the corkscrew, he's touched the accelerator and it's just caused the back end to go round. And this is where we're talking about. You've got to get this run up the hill correct, and that braking point is just on the top of the hill. It's just on the crest, and you've got to get it right. Send it in and then look for that inside. If you unsettle the car, touch the brake, touch the accelerator, anything throughout that process of getting it through that corkscrew, you are going to go round. But just because of the nature of the corner, the way the camber works in the corner, it's lifting the car, so they've got to try and bury that corkscrew, and they've got to try and have a good run, and that's where the issues will be. Turn 6, yes, again, we're talking about it. It will be tricky due to the fact that obviously you've got the bump on the inside, and if you hit the sausage curb that's covering there at the moment, you could be on the gravel in the outside, and then you're just running up the gravel up at the hill, or you're going to hit the barriers on the right hand side. So there's a lot of challenges here, but really turn 6 and the corkscrew itself are probably 2 of the trickiest ones on circuit at the moment.
Yeah, it's well, I find it all quite difficult, to be honest with you, around this circuit. The lack of room for error is really punishing around here. We mentioned before we came on air as well the amount of sand you've got around the outside. Must be a nightmare to clean yourself up from. But anyway, this is only virtual, of course, so that's not a worry. But yeah, it's certainly very punishing when you get things wrong, and that will be a problem in qualifying actually as well, because of course it will get you off tracks, and then if you've gone off track, it won't count towards your qualifying time, which of course you do need to at least get some times on the board, even if it's not your fastest. Luke Maxwell is doing both of those at the moment. He's got a time on the board that's fastest, and he is going quick in this sector right now. For some reason, him and Simon Edwards both hold the same purple sector. That can't be true, but anyway, it apparently is. Luke Maxwell's got the most of them at the moment, and he should be going below the 118s with this lap time here. He was in the low 17s in that opening session in the practice, and he does it again. Edwards goes a bit quicker. He's up to second, but it's so difficult to see anybody pushing Luke Maxwell off that top spot because he's been so strong in practice. He's looking pretty formidable in the qualifying session now as well.
Yeah, he definitely is. He's doing an outstanding job, to be honest. Welcoming Damien G and Colin Wynn there. We've got no Colin this evening and Damien G. None of them are here. Damien G's apparently his brake pedal's not working, which is always, well, not ideal on a race circuit where you do have to use your brakes. His pedal's not working apparently, so there you go. And not sure why Colin's not here. Colin, why are you not here? Did you go to Goodwood today? I know you were talking about it. Have you been to Goodwood? Because it's been an interesting day at Goodwood, I believe, as well, with a tyre coming loose on a car.
Yes, I can't remember where it is in the chat. Yeah, well, he didn't actually give a reason. Just said he's not racing Colin Wynn, so we'll never know. It's Jamie G's pedal indeed who is stopped working, so we won't be seeing him, unfortunately. Or if we were, we would have only seen him for a corner. So anyway, in towards the final straight for Luke Maxwell then, and he should take pole here, you'd imagine, unless Simon Edwards can do something special. I think it was actually quicker again from Luke Maxwell, but not so from Edwards. He stays second. McCutchinson stays third as well, as a result of going to the pit lane, doesn't even complete that final lap time. Mike Bousson improves a little bit, but he's quite some distance off of the front three, who show themselves to be quite a lot quicker actually than the rest of the field.
Yeah, they definitely are here, and this is James Barry. I believe this is his first outing this season, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember seeing James last week, and he goes over the line as well. Sets a time of 1:19.093, so currently in 10th place. Sergio Dela Cruz is still there as well. He's out on track as well as Paul LeMay. So it's been an
Oh dear.
There you go. Corkscrew doing what the corkscrew does do.
Is that motion in a vehicle called a corkscrew? Is that another word for a spin?
He didn't. Let's just say he didn't make it through the corkscrew, shall we? No. Yes. Goodwood Saturday, Sunday had a podcast to record this evening and take a client for dinner. I knew I wouldn't get back in time. Well, there you go.
How he told his wife?
Well, I'm guessing so, yeah. How the high life, how the people in the high life viewing, hey, he's got a podcast to do and takes a client out for dinner. So, you know, fair play to you, sir. I don't ever remember seeing a dinner invite from Colin Wynn. You got a dinner invite from Colin Wynn?
I'm joking, of course. No.
No, me neither.
There we are. We'll let Colin explain himself there, because that could get quite tricky quite quickly. Anyway, Sergio Dela Cruz is actually making an appearance once again for the first time in a little while. We've only seen him at one of the rounds, I think, so far this season, maybe two. No, probably one actually. Probably only just the one. He did quite well within that round, but we just haven't seen him again, which has been unfortunate, but he's back again now. 1:21.1 is the current time he's got on the board. Don't know why, by the way, he's setting lap times so far after everybody else. This circuit not particularly tight for time, so I guess you can afford yourself an extra couple of moments in the pit lane before you begin. And we did see John McCutcheon actually apply this strategy not so long ago in a week previous to let himself know what he had to do with his final lap time, and it did help him because I think he got pole on that particular day. Sergio Dela Cruz is not going to do that, you wouldn't imagine, but he will improve quite drastically there. If it counts, it will. 7th place for Dela Cruz. That will be his last lap time of the session, and maybe that strategy of waiting a little bit has helped him because he's known exactly, he's set himself a target, he's known what he's had to do, and he's done it now, up inside the top 10.
Yeah, definitely there as well. Colin Wynn is unmarried, apparently. No one can put up with him.
That makes it easier.
So he hasn't got anyone to explain that to, unless he's going to explain it to his dogs, of course. And I know Colin has got. So unless he's going to go and have a chat with the dogs there as well. Damien G tried using the clutch as a brake, but wasn't the best. So hopefully we might get you back.
Clutch as my brake.
It has been known, it has been known. And I had a friend that used his clutch as his brake because his brake went. But
mine's not broken. I'll just do it.
I
just prefer it. Yeah.
Oh right.
I just prefer it.
I don't know. I need to get my poor rig. I think's missing me, to be honest, because I haven't been in it for so long. I think I need to at least take it out for a spin at some point. I don't think I've got one after this. So maybe I'll take me rig for a spin. So stay off track for the next hour after the broadcast. Otherwise, you could end up seeing me on track, which will never be good for anyone. So there we go.
Stay away from iRacing for the next couple of hours or so.
I would.
I will be. But anyway, final seconds of qualifying here. It's, John McCutcheon hasn't actually got I think this lap actually just counts as the final of his 3 actually, but as it totals nearly 5 minutes in length, it's not going to shake the standings, you wouldn't imagine. He will stay 3rd. And the final seconds of qualifying will just tick away now, and we'll get set for the first race. By the way, Laguna Seca is the venue for our first ever sprint and feature format race that we saw back. Well, I've started that sentence testing myself there, haven't I? When did we start this? Season 4 last year, or was it season 1 this year?
Yeah, about 4 seasons ago.
Oh,
it's been a long while, mate. I tell you that much.
It has, yeah. It's been a very long time.
So, but there's a grid for you, bud.
As we discovered last week with Mike Booston and his wins, we're not good at historical information. So I shouldn't have started that sentence.
No, he said he had a win. I don't remember him winning before.
Well, this was a discussion we're having. Anyway, let's get to the grid before we miss the race. Luke Maxwell and Simon Edwards on the front with John McCutcheon and James Barry in the second row, by the way. Great performance on debut from him. Mike Poussin and Paul LeMay on the third row, ahead of Sergio De La Cruz and George Gonzaga. David Rolleston is alongside Darryl Taylor inside the top 10. Then we've got Seth Brown and Jamie Bird on row 6. A little bit further back from that is Michael LeMay and Wayne Palmer, Phil Johnson, Phil Glover, and Chris Max Davies and Paul Godden bringing up the rear there on row 9. So there's your grid. Apparently Mike Booston did win under JPB broadcasting. I don't remember it either.
I don't remember it.
But yes, there we are. It's apparently it did happen. It was great to see him win last week, though. You never know. This could be another week for him.
It could well be. It's going to be hard, I'm not going to lie, because at the moment nobody can see past Luke Maxwell. So at the end of the day, it's going to be tough for Bousson to even think about winning here today as well. So he's got a bit of a challenge, I think. I'm not going to lie. I think he's got a bit of a mission. But at the end of the day, never say never. He may win, he may not. So let's see how it goes here.
Yep, James Barry not gridded up just yet. He's got about 20 seconds to do so, we won't worry ourselves too much. And there we go. He gets onto the grid now. We can get underway. Luke Maxwell on the very front. From here at Laguna Seca, the venue of the very first sprint and feature format, is returning once more for 11 laps in the sprint race. We're underway. It's a good start from Maxwell, not so much from Edwards, who immediately has his championship rival McCutcheon alongside and through on him. In towards turn 1, they're 3 wide. In towards turn 2, now the first braking zone. John McCutcheon looking to go from third to first. He's gone very wide through the opening hairpin though, and James Barry's going to get up into second place on his debut. What a performance this would be. Outside of turn 3 though, he's not going to be able to manage it through there, unfortunately. He'll stay single file. Simon Edwards will look down the inside. He won't manage it. A couple of changes of position though. It's not a great launch off the line from Simon Edwards.
No, Simon Edwards dropped all the way down into 4th place at the moment. We say it's a long way down. It is in conjunction when the fact that you've got Maxwell and Hutchinson. Barry got a jump off the start as well, done an absolute stellar job sitting in 3rd at the moment here. This could spice things up as we're going on as well. It looks like Paul LeMay is... Oh, he saved it, but only just, mind you, on the exit of turn 6, and now he's coming into the corkscrew as well. So it's all getting a bit close, but everybody currently at the moment made it away cleanly.
Yeah, clean enough. LeMay went a little bit wide there in a battle with Sergio De La Cruz. He was side by side throughout the entirety of the first half of the lap, actually, and then got pushed out wide through turn 6, as I was talking about earlier on. It set him back to 12th, just ahead of Michael LeMay, which is going to confuse us. Oh, spin in the background. Oh, crash as well. De La Cruz involved. Roniston as well as George Gonzaga as well. They'll all get away from it, but there'll be loads of positional changes in that fight for 6th place. So many cars involved as well.
Yeah, Sergio De La Cruz there looked like he got just spun up coming out the final turn. He put too many, I think he put too much through the loud pedal here, because he did a spin up the back wheels. Oh no, there was contact. Oh, and again.
It was Roniston who tipped him into a half spin there, and George Gonzaga was the innocent bystander in that one, but you'd certainly have to pin that one on Roniston there, because he was the one in control of the situation. He could see what was going on in front of him, but still made slight contact with De La Cruz, and it's cost De La Cruz 10 places or more.
Yeah, it definitely has, and I think Rollo's going to have to do a little bit of apologising there as well. I'm not going to lie, because he did tap into him. I don't know if De La Cruz moved over and closed the door on him too soon, or what the situation was inside of Rolliston's car, of course. But at the end of the day, he still ended up on the inside, still spinning De La Cruz round. And unfortunately for De La Cruz, then he went and hit De La Cruz, and Gonzaga was involved in that one as well, trying to get past it. So it was all very, very, very tough. Here, Seth Brown, Paul LeMay are currently down in 8th and 9th, battling away on track. Maxwell's out in front by nearly a second now, so this is the current closest battle on track.
Yes, it certainly is. The front guys spreading themselves out quite thinly at the moment, actually. In the opening moments, the battle's much more interesting in the midfield here, although that's going to be difficult for Seth Brown to make his way down the inside on Paul LeMay, just up in front. Now the two LeMays separated by a couple of drivers, Seth Brown and David Royston, just in between the two brothers. But yeah, this group for 6th place has just been spread out a little bit by that incident, unfortunately. But these are exactly the battles you want to watch, because it will be the fight for 10th place that will be so interesting. That, of course, gets you pole for the second race, where he reversed the top 10 and then go racing for 18 more laps. Royston there is going to have to hold off LeMay and Gonzaga to be able to get that pole position as of right now.
Yeah, but Gonzaga's quick. We know that. We know he can quick. On his day, Gonzaga can compete, but he doesn't have his day very, very often, unfortunately, and it's a struggle for him. I think consistency, that's probably the word I'm looking for with Gonzaga. 1 minute he can be up there, and he has been at previous races, and then 1 minute he can be down the back, and you're sitting there thinking, well, you know, Knockhill, he finished second in the feature, and then you go into last week and he wasn't anywhere to be seen. So it is a battle of consistency with Gonzaga as well. Damien G's just given us some information. I've raced with James Barry and officials in a Sunday Radical League, and he is quick. So he's putting one over on Simon Edwards at the moment. He's opened it up to about a second here. So maybe Barry's coming in, but he has got round 5. Has he got enough time to get involved in the championship fight? He's a bit long. He's going to be a long way back, but depends if he's here every single week, of course. But if he can keep doing performances like that, there's no reason why he can't be sort of mid-table top 10 by the end of the season.
Yeah, I reckon he can do top 10, but don't think he can challenge for the title, unfortunately. The drop weeks will only save you from 3 rounds that you're not here for, not 4, which is already missed, of course. He could use these rounds, though, to build a case for next season, of course, and then he can very much challenge, because he can kind of gain the experience from this format, which is obviously not like the officials. It's a bit, I don't say it's unusual, it's not that unusual at all, actually, but it's just different to the officials. And so you do need to build up that experience that the likes of McCutchinson, Maxwell and Edwards have had now over the course of the last seasons. However many it is. 4 or 5, however many it is, or 3. Anyway, yes.
Commentating at his best from Ewan O'Leary there over the last seasons.
Well, I just don't know. So I'll have to go and look that up. Anyway, Wayne Palmer went off on that last lap, by the way. I think it was at turn 4. He got into the grass slightly and went off the road, but in a big way. It wasn't just a running wide. He hit the curb, that'll be why. Just had to save himself from that, and has fortunately dropped to last, I think, as a result of that. Yeah,
Gonzaga's also taken a bit of an excursion as well. He's hit the sausage curb and did the same thing. So, yeah, that's around turn 4. So Gonzaga also doing the same thing there as well. But the battle's starting to get a little bit closer up front. McHutchinson has pulled in Maxwell currently at the moment.
He has done a very good job as the championship leader. John McHutchinson has had a new lease of life in the last couple of seasons, I've got to say. From where he was at the end of season 1 of this season, where he was in a bit of a mess at Brands Hatch, involved in a couple of incidents, and he went from possibly sealing the title on that night to actually being out of contention entirely and couldn't win it anymore. Mathematically, all in one night, all in the matter of half an hour. And, at the time said, I don't really want to race in this series anymore, to be honest with you. Well, he's come back again. He's come back and he's won the previous season in a really hard-fought battle with Simon Edwards. And that confidence he's gained from being reigning champion here for Season 3 has been unbelievable. He is currently leader of the championship by 16 points. He's been winning very, very often. He's been a force to be reckoned with so far, and it just shows you what confidence can do for you. At the moment, he's challenging for that lead as Seth Brown has a little look at Paul LeMay.
LeMay come over late on him there as well. He waited till the last possible moment, seen what Brown was going to do, and then was like, nope. Quick question from Colin Wynne there. He says, has Ewan been on the pop? And then Damien G just put beer mugs in the chat, so I'm guessing there. Well, I think it was the whole.
Good point.
So, at the end of the day, mate, you make these things, people are going to pick up on it. This is live national TV in front of millions of viewers. So, there we go.
I was just trying to hide the fact that I didn't know, to be honest with you. I think about it. It's probably the 5th season, isn't it, of Sprint and Beat format racing. I'm going to go with Season 3 of last year, but I'm willing to be proved wrong.
I think, how many, where are we now? Season 3, we've done season, I think it was last season, like the last season of last year, I think.
You think Season 4 maybe of last year?
I think so. I can't remember when
the check's
coming. Yeah, if you get it right, PO Box 8989 or whatever, let us know what you think, because we can't remember. So
yes, we can't exactly. We need to get better at this historical information, to be honest. Because
mate, I think with the amount of broadcasts we do, I think we can be excused, can't we?
Well, that's true, but I know it's something I like talking about, but so much so that I actually give myself dead-end sentences by not knowing the answer to what I've just started saying. Anyway, battle for 7th place on your screen at the moment. Oh, and off in the background, Michael LeMay. He was in the battle for 10th place with David Rolliston, and Rolliston might have been involved, actually. It was Gonzaga just behind trying to make up places here, but I think Michael LeMay's got it wrong on his own. He's just gone too fast into turn 3. Gonzaga's got around him actually on his own there, and it's just a half spin, but that's all hopes of benefiting from the reverse grid gone now for Michael LeMay.
Yeah, well, not yet though, mind you. Rolliston has been off track as well, and I think Rollo is still running. But yeah, from Michael LeMay's point of view, having a look at the table with Dela Cruz, Jocelyn and Gonzaga and Rolliston in front of him, it's definitely going to be hard. James Barry, believe it or not, there is Simon Edwards. Simon Edwards trying to go around the outside of the last corner. He slots back in once more here. This 5-time champion absolutely battling away with the rookie of the here as well. The first race of the season for James Barry, I believe. To say, I can't ever remember him being here again. I know we were talking about historical memories, but I'm pretty sure I'd remember somebody called James Barry.
No, yeah, he hasn't been here before this season. But he's making a good account of himself early on here, and Simon Edwards looking for that place to get into 3rd, of course. It would give him an extra couple of points in a championship fight that is still very, very close with John McCutcheon. But once again, he would be losing more points. They will have to look over the shoulder at Luke Maxwell, of course, who's missed out on 2 rounds so far. But on average, has scored 53 points a round so far this season. That is slightly lower than John McCutcheon and Simon Edwards. Simon Edwards has got an average of just over 55 a round. McCutcheon's got an average of just under 61. So that gives you somewhat of an idea of where they'll be when we apply the drop rounds. But if we applied all the drop rounds right now and we showed you them earlier, they would look ridiculous, and you'd say, what on earth have you shown us there? Because we're only 4 rounds in. We'll get to that in the second half of the season, really, when things get a little bit more interesting. For now, it's just about the racing, and we're getting towards the end of the opening race of the night. Simon Edwards still looking for this way through, and he'd like to do it, I think, before Mike Booson gets here. He's only 1.2 seconds away, and the more they battle, closer Booson gets.
The problem is Bird looks quick. That's the thing for Edwards. He's got somebody in front of him that he's not going to be able to breeze past. Barry looks quick, and that's the situation for Edwards. It is kind of now you've got to try and go quicker, or you've got to kind of just think, well, I'm here now, and fourth is going to be the best I'm going to get, because James Barry is clearly pacey. He's keeping in front of a 5-time champion. You know, we're not talking about somebody who's just won one. Edwards is quick, and he's won 5, and he's beat most of these guys that many times as well. So Barry's doing an absolutely stellar job. He's making Edwards make mistakes as well, which he just did there as well by running slightly wide out of 6. And now they're coming into this corkscrew that we are talking about. They've got to drop into that and then round the right-hander. Again, don't touch your brakes, don't touch anything, otherwise it is coming round. But Brown's having a go at LeMay once more here as well. And it's going to be exciting for the last couple of laps here.
Oh, that was very close. Seth Brown getting onto the back of LeMay here, forced to go defensive through the rainy curve there on the way in anyway, and he's done it all that he needs to fend him off through the final sector here, I think, although pretty close towards going off there was LeMay to the final corner. I think Seth Brown's quite got the run there. It was a good exit from LeMay, although the slipstream will certainly help Brown, and here he comes on the outside line this time. When he's dropped to the inside, he won't be allowed to. He'll break a little bit earlier than LeMay, and he'll just have to... Well, what is he going to do? He was caught in two minds a little bit to go around the outside or almost try and go through him, which is what he almost ended up doing. And they're both, of course, going to be starting up inside the top 3 right now as far as the second race is concerned, so they don't want to throw this all away.
No, they definitely don't, but Maxwell doesn't want to throw it away either, and Hutch has pulled it back in to about 0.4 half. Well, it was a lot closer than that currently at the moment, but they pushed back out as well. Edwards and Barry still battling away here for 3rd and 4th place as they drop down through the corkscrew once more, and it's getting very close between the top 4. It'll be interesting to see how this one turns out, as we will be on the final lap.
Yeah, we certainly will be. And we'll see who's going to come out on top in this one. Is it going to be Maxwell or McCutcheon? I would certainly say Maxwell, with the track position and the pace he showed, especially in qualifying. He should be able to do this, but you never know. He has fallen off towards the end of races in the past, of course, in terms of not conserving tyres quite enough and fallen away. Of course, this race is a little bit of a shorter distance compared to that particular occasion I'm thinking of back at a long time ago at Phillip Island, but even so, it could be a bit of a concern for Maxwell. Could be a concern for Barry as well, who is just in front of Simon Edwards here for 3rd place. Boosting too far away to really get involved. He'll start the second race from 6th place, and he'll pick up 5th place points from this opener here. But it looks like we're fairly settled here, both for the lead and maybe Edwards as well.
Yeah, I think it is, to be honest. I think it is. Maxwell's just got this corkscrew to do for the final time. He's just got to repeat it for the 11th time. Flies through as Maxwell's is coming off now. Round turn 9. Long left-hander, this one, by the way, and then a little run down into turn 10. And they've got to put it in that dip, but he's coming round now with 1 corner remaining.
Here we go. Luke Maxwell into the final turn. He's going to be challenged all the way, but it's not going to be enough. And Luke Maxwell will win the first race at Laguna Seca, just ahead of John McCutcheon, with James Barry just beating Simon Edwards for 3rd place as well. A close race there for them, but podium for first time out for Barry, as we've got battles in towards the final corner. Seth Brown goes for it, and there's contact. Paul LeMay goes around, and straight into him goes Rolliston. Gonzaga gets into the top 10 as well. LeMay will hold on to 10th. Gonzaga will actually get ahead of Rolliston there as well in a bizarre twist of fate. LeMay will start on pole for the next race, and Seth Brown, with that late dive, has indeed thrown it all away.
Yeah, he definitely has. We've got Godden and Glover fighting out down to the line. Glover is in front currently at the moment. He's going to go over first there as well. And Brown tried it. He had a go. That was the thing. He had to make that move. He tried it as best as he could. Oh, okay. And then we go into the next one. So unfortunately we can't do that. But yeah, he had a go. He tried it on the last corner. LeMay shut the door and around he went. So there we go. That was the end of that one.
A disappointment there for Seth Brown, but it's Luke Maxwell who wins the race ahead of John McCutcheon. James Barry holding off Simon Edwards for his first podium there, ahead of Mike Booston inside the top 5. Jimmy Bird was very quiet actually in that one. He finished 6th ahead of an equally quiet Darrell Taylor. George Gonzaga finishes in at 8th after just beating David Rolliston. Paul LeMay at least able to keep his top 10 there. It would have been pretty cruel if he wasn't. Seth Brown taking the punishment himself. We'll be starting from 11th. Phil Justin 12th, ahead of Sergio De La Cruz. After that recovery from him, Michael LeMay 14th, ahead of Wayne Palmer. Phil Glover, just beat Paul Godden in that race to the line we just saw, and Chris Max Davies was bringing up the rear. Thankfully, for such a tricky circuit, for where we were expecting so many people to go off, we didn't see that many people off, to be honest, and we actually got everybody to the flag within 3/4 of a minute there, which doesn't happen very often at any circuit.
No, and we did see him do it at the corkscrew as well. I don't think we saw one incident at the corkscrew. We obviously had De La Cruz, Rollison and Gonzaga, Palmer having a moment and LeMay having a moment, of course, but we didn't actually... I don't think it was in the corkscrew. I don't remember anyone going off in the corkscrew, to be honest. But yeah, considering what we saw in practice and how many people we saw go off, you know, there was a moment where there was just like one car after another. But here, they seem to have done a great job. So, you know, fair play to them. As a couple of people are out on track. Seth Brown's gone out and Phil Glover's gone out there as well. 20 seconds remaining in a warm-up before we go into the feature race. So there we go.
Yes, a little bit like what I mentioned actually in the practice session, that, you know, people aren't that concentrated towards the end of practice because it doesn't really mean anything, but as soon as they get into qualifying in the race, they do start to turn their focus up a little bit because they know that it's an important moment when you're going through the corkscrew. End of warm-up then. I don't know if anybody actually left the pit lane there. People just wanted to recover a little bit and get ready for the reverse grid race, which is coming up right about now. Let's have a look at the starting grid for the 18 laps we have here. This is the back half, and these are the front. It's Paul LeMay and David Ralston on the front, and George Gonzaga and Darrell Taylor. Jamie Bird will be alongside Mike Booston with Simon Edwards and Jane Barry. John McCutcheon and Luke Maxwell inside the top 10. We've got Seth Brown and Phil Justin on road 6, ahead of Sergio De La Cruz and Michael LeMay. Wayne Palmer and Phil Glover just behind them, with Paul Godden and Chris Max Davies rounding out the grid. Now, in that previous race, we didn't really see any of the big names go off the road and fall down the order, so it pretty much is an organic reverse grid here, with some of the real faster drivers towards the back going to have to fight their way through as this format was designed.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things anyway, isn't it? Let's be real about it. This format is designed to have 18 cars. We're going to be doing 18 laps this time around as well. And at the end of the day, the format is the reverse. They've got to come through the order. Nobody went off Evo, so that was always good for them. But it does mean now that they've got to go through the field, and that's going to be the tricky thing. And we've got no boost on.
No, we haven't. He's going to be starting from pit lane by the looks of things. Let's see what happens to him. The lights go out then and we're underway. It's a great start from David Ralston. Look at that. Absolute rocket ship from second place. And in fact, Paul LeMay's not really going anywhere. He's back to third immediately. Barry and Edwards up to fourth and fifth very quickly, which is a bit of a surprise. Jamie Bird not really going anywhere off of that start. We'll go in towards turns 1 and 2, and Jocelyn's off the road. By the looks of things, he'll fall down the order along with Michael LeMay, who finds himself at the back. And Paul LeMay's off now as well. Paul LeMay's off at turn 3. He drops to the back as well. Yeah, he slid all the way down into 17th currently at the moment. Bird did not get off the line there. He is still in the same place he was when he qualified in the grid, but he did not go anywhere. That's the question. Barry and Edwards jumped him at the beginning, with Edwards taking the lead out of the two, and Barry's having another go. Gonzaga is now sat in second place at the moment. Barry's, he's trying. I'll tell you, he ain't going to give Simon Edwards time here. I think Barry, if he can hold on, Bird, no! Oh, contact! Very close. Jamie Bird tries to go for it on Barry and it hasn't worked. But John McCutcheon's through and Luke Maxwell will follow through as well. A disaster for Jamie Bird. He tries to wait one place and he actually loses two. Seth Brown's going to be very close behind and he's going to have to look in his mirrors. There is Bird to try and fend him off. And Darrell Taylor's looking to the outside as well. Unfortunately, he's gone backwards a little bit on the start of this one as well. But it's Rolliston leading the race ahead of Gonzaga. Then Edwards, Barry, McCutcheon, Maxwell, the top six. Those main four, the fastest four from the opening race, have done very well in the opening start here, but unfortunately Paul LeMay has thrown away a pretty good chance at a good result there with that pretty harmless spin really at turn 3.
Yeah, and also Bousson has gone and done this through the last section on circuit. He missed the start. He looked like he had to start from the pit lane. He's on the gravel. He's not stopping the car, and unfortunately for him, he does end up jumping back to the pit. So Bousson, after his high of last week, didn't repeated this week, which is a bit of a shame. But unfortunately for him, he's now in the pit lane. But it is still Rollo, Gonzaga, Edwards and Barry. So this is going to get spicy up front.
Very interesting indeed. Barry off the road a little bit actually at turn 6, and he's going to have McCutcheon alongside on the run towards the corkscrew. I think Edwards is going to go for it as well, is he? Maxwell, here we go on Barry, down the inside. McCutcheon got it done. Oh, McCutcheon's off, and through goes Barry. He holds onto the place. McCutcheon will have to slow down dramatically for a slowdown there, and that's really going to hurt him. What about Maxwell? Can he get up to 4th place? Not quite. McCutcheon's back into the game as well. He's served the slowdown, and Edwards wasn't able to get through. Oh dear, what's gone on there? What has gone on there? Barry, who's off the road, spinning around. McCutcheon drops positions as well. Luke Maxwell's come to a complete stop on the way in. I don't know what's gone on there, but it's chaos in the battle for 4th place, and there are cars everywhere all of a sudden. Oh my goodness.
I don't know if Barry had a slowdown there, and that's why Maxwell was there, because he seemed to be going very, very slowly. Very slowly.
Well, that is bizarre. It looks like he was going to the pit lane almost, Barry, there, but I don't know what for. And Maxwell, for whatever reason, just seemed to clatter into the back of him. Now he's certainly got damage, and those three are completely gone away from this. And all of a sudden, look who's the beneficiary. Simon Edwards, all of a sudden up to 2nd place. He's ahead of George Gonzaga. He's only got to dispatch of Rolliston now to take a feature race win, and a big take in this championship as well, compared to the likes of McCutcheon and Maxwell, who are 16th and 17th.
Yeah, I want to try and see it from the cockpit view of Maxwell. So I am going to slow it down a minute, because I want to see what happened. It just looked like, from that point of view, that Barry just come to a complete halt. He didn't go anywhere. Maxwell's still in 4th. And he just goes and clatters into the back of him. I'm not entirely sure if Barry did have a slowdown. Was he taking it on the racing line? What the situation was? Phil Godden has just lost places to Phil Jocelyn, and also it looks like Chris Max Davis has had a moment as well. So it's been a little bit scrappy further down. Paul Godden here with Daryl Taylor, but Rollo and Edwards, there is 2 cars there, and Gonzaga's still in it as well.
Well, Luke Maxwell has returned to the pit lane now, and by the way, McCutcheon has been off the road again on that previous lap for quite an extended period of time. He's lost even more time back down there in 15th place. But yeah, a real shame for McCutcheon, and he would lose real big points to Simon Edwards right now, who is on course for possibly a win here. Rolliston would have to do a big job in defending to hold back the 5-time champion, and it's a real tall order. I know this circuit is difficult to overtake on, but surely even Simon Edwards is going to find a way through at this particular circuit. Surely not David Rolliston can hold him back at the moment. Let's see. They make their way up to the final corner, and Rolliston will at least lead another lap, but we'll see how long this lasts.
Yeah, he will. I don't know if he would look at backing him into Gonzaga to give him some pressure, but the problem is you start going slowly and Edwards will get you, so it's kind of a problem here. Rollo's left the door wide open as well. You're going to do that, mate. You might as well invite him through and give him a Queen's invite. James Barry's been off the circuit twice within a short period of time here, and it looks like the corkscrew's claimed he's gone side by side with Godden. He's not going to make it. LeMay's off, Barry's off, and LeMay's there, Godden's there as well. So there was a lot of people involved in that one. That looked a little bit scrappy here, and unfortunately for them, there was LeMay, Godden and Barry off track at the same time, and it's all a little bit messy. So Godden gets it wrong, Barry goes round him, LeMay's gone in too hot, Barry's gone round, hits Godden, Godden goes into the wall, pops off that nose, and away he goes. So Barry, from his highlights of his first one, now to a race that he'll probably want to forget.
Yeah, he's still in the race actually, but yeah, he will probably want to forget about it. Chris Max Davis off the road again, I'm afraid, just briefly. I think it was out of turn 5 actually, ever so briefly, but he's running out on his own entirely. The leaders are battling though, Rolliston versus Edwards. Important for Simon Edwards to make a statement and take a win here when all of his rivals are floundering further behind. Maxwell, I think, is getting repairs, and he's going to try and get what he can from this race, because if he can get back out there, he might be able to overtake Godden for an extra point, but it depends how badly he wants it really at this stage. He is still at least in the server, which is good to see. Edwards is right behind though. I'm not so much for the 5 points, although 5 points is useful. It's more about the statement here, in my opinion, for Simon Edwards. He can't afford to let this kind of opportunity slip and kind of let the others know that he's not quite on top form.
No, he needs to just go and say, right, this is me, I've done this is what I'm going to do, because he's done it before. He's lucked into wins previously, and him himself would admit the fact that he's lucked into wins as well. You know, and he can really luck into another one here. Because, as I say, Rollo's doing a great job, and it isn't anything disrespectful to David Rolleston. He's a great driver, a great guy. Met David, he's amazing, but at the end of the day, he has got Simon Edwards behind him. And I think that's the thing. He's got a 5-time champion. He's not sitting with anyone slow or anything like that. He's sitting with Simon Edwards. So the longer he's holding him, the better it is for him, because you would hope Gonzaga would be able to get a little bit closer, but Gonzaga's unfortunately losing time behind him. So Rollo's kind of now all on his own. He's like one man versus the machine at the moment, and from that point of view, I suppose you could look at it as, you know, David versus Goliath, I guess.
David Rolleston versus Goliath, yeah.
Well, you know, that's the only way I could think of, to be honest.
It was there on the table for us. We'll take it. Yeah, it's certainly going on for a little bit longer than I thought. Maybe we're discounting David Rolleston a little bit too much. But yeah, he's doing well at the moment, keeping Edwards behind and actually getting away from just Gonzaga as well, who can't quite keep with the pace. Although a podium for him would still be a success in this race, that's certainly for sure. Through turn 6 they'll go again. Edwards forced to chase the slipstream of Rolleston a little bit through this straight that's not straight at all anyway, up towards the corkscrew, absolutely on the limit from Rolleston. A bit of a better line, tidier line from Edwards, but you don't really have anywhere to go with it through the final 3 corners, and we'll approach the halfway mark now with Edwards still firmly behind.
At the moment, he is at the moment, and has been since really about lap 2, to be honest. I don't know if he just can't get past him, or if he's waiting to get past him. I don't know. He almost, in a weird way, he almost reminds me of somebody like an animal playing with the food almost, because he's got pace, Edwards. But I don't know if we're doing Rollo injustice here and saying that he's just not fast enough, but clearly at the moment he's defending like an absolute stoutly lion. So I suppose from that point of view, go Rollo. But you know, it's a difficult one here as well, because we'd expect Edwards to get past. But Rollo is doing a fantastic job currently at the moment and holding him up. And as you say, they're opening the gap to Gonzaga. So Rolleston's been getting quicker and quicker and quicker. But Edwards is now going to run him out up there.
Oh, and contact. Oh, no. Big contact. Rolleston and Edwards into the wall. George Gonzaga will follow through and take the lead now. Bird will get up into second ahead of Seth Brown, who be in third. Edwards will recover to a top 5, maybe. Wayne Palmer will be in the top 5 now. David Rolleston to the back. Well, what was going on there? Let's have a look in towards turn 6. It was a look up the inside from Edwards. Rolleston goes left, straight into the side of Edwards, and they're both in the wall.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what happened with Rollo. He snaps it, and then I don't know whether or not he thought Edwards wasn't going to be there, but from that onboard, he's constantly turning left as he's coming out of that corner, right? And then Edwards
not lost the car either.
No. So I don't.
He's not lost.
I don't know.
The only explanation I can think of is him thinking that Edwards was still behind and he was trying to protect the inside, but that would be a colossal lack of spatial awareness for that to be the case. Yeah, I don't really know, unfortunately, for David Rolleston. He's in the wall and he's back to 15th now, and Simon Edwards has got all of a sudden a real job in his hands. I said earlier on that it was a great opportunity for him to gain some points. Well, I'm afraid he's not going to be gaining nearly as many as he maybe thought. He lost another 4 to John McCutcheon on that last race, by the way, to extend the lead of McCutcheon to 20 points. And as things stand with him in 6th and McCutcheon a lot further down, he wouldn't even be able to halve that championship advantage of McCutcheon. It's another bit of bad luck for Simon Edwards, really, who played no part in that. It's not really any of his fault, and he's unfortunately now battling for 5th place with damage likely.
Yeah, we got Brown and Bird battling away. Now, Colin Wynn off track took him left. I don't know. I don't know if he did, you know. I'm not saying Rollo's done it on purpose, don't get me wrong, but the back end didn't even go either. So,
it looked like a back end gone to me.
No, if the back end would go, he would slide, and we've seen enough slides in the SL10 there as well, and it didn't look like he did that. So I don't know if he wasn't expecting Edwards to be there, and he thought he might be able to defend that inside line, but whatever it was for Rollo, it didn't work. Damien G, I think, yeah, Bill, could be a wheel disconnection or malfunction. No, the problem was, after the incident, he was turning the wheel, wasn't he? So, maybe Rollo wasn't expecting Edwards to be there. It didn't start off well, though, to be fair, because going side by side in turn 6 is always very, very tricky. So I'm surprised Edwards went for it, but I'm also not surprised due to the racing driver instinct that he has got. But side by side in 6 is always hard, and you see it there with Phil Glover. He did exactly the same thing as Rollo and wasn't any remotely near John McCutcheon. So yeah, it's not a good look for Rollo, but as I say, I don't think there was any ill intent or malicious in there at all.
When Palmer's off the road, I'm afraid. He was battling for a top 5 place with Simon Edwards, who did get through way before Palmer went off, but it's incident. Oh, and that is a slide, I'm afraid. He's got back on the road, has he? Oh no, he's not been able to get turned back on the tarmac, and he's going to lose loads now because of the camber of the road. Wayne Palmer's gone from a near top 5 to outside the top 10 here for him, back down to 11th for him. Jamie Bird just ahead of Seth Brown there for 2nd place. These two both back on the podium then after these recent incidents. And John McCutcheon up to 9th place now, with the possibility of gaining to possibly 6th place. Judging by the gaps in front of him, there are still points to be gained there for him.
Yeah, whether or not he get the 4.2 up to LeMay, that will be the question for him here as well. Saying that, he's got about 2.8. It's down to nearly 3 seconds, so he might be able to get there. But he's got Darrell Taylor, Phil Jocelyn, and then Michael LeMay to get into that top 6. It's always going to be difficult. I'm not saying John ain't going to be able to do it by any shape or form, because, you know, it's McCutcheon, it's William Wallace in an SL10. So I'm not saying he's not going to be able to do it as well. And I've got to give him a bit of praise as well, because he called me out last week with our unbiased opinion of Go Mike Bousson. So yeah, go on, John, do it this time around.
We'll enjoy that a bit more.
Yeah, maybe giving him a shout. Go John McCutcheon, top 6. There we go.
He will be applying the pressure to Darrell Taylor down the straight here, and he should be able to make it into the hairpin, you would imagine, unless Taylor puts up a spirited defence, which he might well do. We're in the final half of the race now, and so very much it might. Brakes late on the inside, but McCutcheon just turns out of that to make sure that there's no contact and will back out. Although a good run through turn 2, well, the exit at least will get him up the inside at 3, and he'll gain another point with that. And it just seems that nothing can go wrong for John McCutcheon at the moment, and he looks like he's going to be championship leader on the exit of Laguna Seca this evening.
Yeah, Seth Brown, Bird and Dela Cruz have come together. Unfortunately, Rollo's had a big moment and has gone straight back to the pits. So unfortunately for David Rolliston, whatever has gone on, we'll have a look back at it in a minute. I just want to see how Seth Brown and Bird and Dela Cruz get through here. They do make it through nicely, and then they're dropping off through turn 9 and doing an absolutely stellar job. This battle is incredible. Gonzaga's out in front. He's leading by about 4.1 seconds at the moment, and I think this is where that consistency that we were talking about in race 1 comes from Gonzaga, because he can go and lead and win, but he can't seem to. He got 3rd place last week, don't get me wrong, but then, as you say, there was a few incidents going into race 2. Colin Wynn and Damien G having a moment, of course, but at the end of the day, Gonzaga is consistently inconsistent. So it's tough for George Gonzaga, but hopefully he'll get his consistency under order. Hutch is now just about to try and go out the inside of Jocelyn into turn 1. Job done for him.
Yeah, nice move in towards the hairpin for him, and that's up to 7th place. Well, he just about got through there. Just into 3, actually. It remained side by side for a bit longer than I thought it would, actually. But he's into 7th place now. I haven't seen a lot of Phil Jocelyn today, actually, but he's been running inside the top 10 for most of the day. I think he was around 8th in race 1, actually. So he's been running quite quietly, but quite well. throughout the 2 races. Battle for second still very much going on. McCutcheon should be able to get through on Michael LeMay here, who's having a good race, up in 6th place. That should happen at some point in the next few laps, but who knows what order Bird, Brown and De La Cruz are going to finish in, because De La Cruz has already gained 9 places so far in this race. He will want 10, and he'll want the podium as well.
Yeah, he's benefited from incidents and accidents, hasn't he, really, here with obviously Paul LeMay, McCutcheon, Barry and Maxwell, Barry and LeMay, Rollo and Edwards and Palmer. So he's done what he needs to do. He's kept it on track and has benefited from people having incidents. So from De La Cruz's point of view, he's done a stellar job. Now from Seth Brown's point of view, he's up 8 places at the moment, and he's trying to make it 9 over Bird here. Bird himself is up 3 places. So we did say about JB Bird at the beginning not really going anywhere and staying where he started, but now he's gained 3 due to incidents as well. So they've all capitalised on incidents that's happened, which is what I suppose in the long run you've got to look at doing.
Yeah, it's certainly around this circuit, I've got to say, where you can come unstuck very easily. Similar story maybe over the next few weeks. We'll go to Jerez in 1 week's time to mark the halfway point of the season, or it will be halfway by the time we get to the end of that event. So looking forward to that in 1 week's time, same place as always. As this battle for second continues, Jamie Bird has been second for quite some time now. Seth Brown is caught in 2 minds of wanting this second place, but also not wanting to lose a podium. And Sergio De La Cruz is all attack at the moment. We enter the final few laps of this race. Gonzaga is away from the rest of the field now by 4 seconds, and you would expect him to take this win from here. Of course, don't want to count his chickens too quickly before they've hatched eggs, whatever. But he is leading by quite some distance. It's just a case of who's going to finish in what order here. At the moment, Jamie Bird is holding on to that place, but he's looking shaky now. Seth Brown very close through turn 4.
Yeah, he's having a go now. Is he going to try and go down 5? I don't think he is either. What about turn 6? Side by side at 6 is so difficult because you need to hit that inside dip just about now. You need that inside. So from the Edwards and Rollo, I am surprised Edwards went there. I'm not going to lie. De La Cruz is now having a go as well. Brown got a slow exit. Bird's got in too hot. De La Cruz is nearly, oh no, yes, Brown, yes, De La Cruz did get round there.
Yeah, did just about get round, and unfortunately Jamie Bird stayed on the road because that will have preserved his podium place for just a little bit longer. And Simon Edwards is going to run out of laps, I think, but he's homing in the background, as you can see, in the blue and red, the purple and red, apologies, over the line again. Bird, having lost quite a couple of seconds on that lap now, will be under pressure on De La Cruz, who certainly looks very quick around here. It's just a shame what happened to him in race 1 really now, because he's clearly showed in this race that he's capable of a lot more than that. 10 places gained in a very short distance here.
Yeah, he's doing an absolutely stellar job as De La Cruz, mind you. He's made use of what's been thrown in front of him, and what's been thrown in front of him is cars going off around him. So from De La Cruz's point of view, he's just done what he needs to do. From Brown's point of view though, he's obviously lost that place to De La Cruz. He's got to try and go at him again, as they've only got sort of 1 and 1 more here. Whether or not Edwards is going to be able to get close enough, I just don't know. He's about 2.5 seconds back, round about the same lap times as these guys. Obviously for Brown, last time out he was on a 120. The cars in front were 19 and 20 as well, with De La Cruz doing a 119. Bird's under pressure. He's got to nail that corkscrew now for the next couple of laps here, and otherwise he could be in jeopardy of losing that second place. Brown takes a lot tighter line than De La Cruz does. I think Brown probably takes the same line that I would here, but he's also got to get it in that dip. Nearly.
He's looking everywhere. You can see that he's turning the wheel at the moment, just trying looking left and right. And let's not forget that Brown started this race 11th because of an incident into the final corner at the end of the last race. He didn't really want to make that move at the final hairpin again, maybe with the last race in his mind, but it's a big look up from Sergio De La Cruz this time. Seth Brown almost follows him. He's down the inside now through turn 2, and he will chop off the nose of De La Cruz. So back into third again is Seth Brown. It's going to allow Jamie Bird to get away with second place, but this battle for third won't be done yet. Seth Brown holds it for now. Sergio De La Cruz going to challenge him right to the end.
Yeah, he's going out now on the left-hand side as these guys are on that run into turn 5. They are side by side. De La Cruz just settles back in behind. He's looking for that run out. Brown's taking a defensive line into 6. That could be trouble. Oh, no, he just held it. Just held it on there, Ewan. Just about.
Yeah. He clipped the gravel on the way in, though, and that's well, meant that he couldn't take the place. It was smart from Seth Brown, though. He knew immediately out of the exit of turn 5 he would have to defend, because the inside line at turn 6 is basically getting the position anyway, and that's exactly what happened. De La Cruz just got a little bit too greedy on the right-hand side, though, trying to go round the outside, or not trying to go all the way around the outside, but more like trying to get the run on the exit there to have it go in towards the corkscrew. The final lap will be out now, though, and Seth Brown doesn't have long to hang on. Sergio De La Cruz has got some catching to do, and then an overtake. This is looking pretty difficult for him.
Yeah, it definitely is. Edwards closed up to below a second as well, so he could be involved in this one. But Hutchinson's just set the fastest lap on a 1:18.089, so he's flying along in 6th place as well. Darrell Taylor's battling it out with Phil Jocelyn. They're almost side by side going into turn 1, as they're now coming out of 1 through 2 and then on that run up into 3. So Taylor's still battling away nicely here currently at the moment. It looks like Edwards has dropped back a little bit to outside of that second mark, but from Gonzaga here, he's just got to nail this corkscrew one more time and then he's through. He's got to go on the brakes just about now, drop it in, get out the other side. Should be all Gonzaga's.
It should be, and it will be a fantastic win for him as well. Jamie Bird actually coming under a little bit of pressure here towards the end. Clearly doesn't have the pace of those behind him, but he should hold on to second. And George Gonzaga, you can say the same for him in the lead. Into the final corner, a crazy race with the main contenders falling by the wayside all throughout. George Gonzaga will step into the limelight and take the win at race 2 for Laguna Seca. Jamie Bird will come across the line second as Seth Brown and Sergio De La Cruz, with Simon Edwards inside the top 5 as well. A bizarre race in many ways, but George Gonzaga took full advantage.
Yeah, he definitely did. I want to see what's going to happen with Jocelyn and Taylor. Taylor does manage to hold on from Jocelyn. Glover comes over the line. Not Glover, Palmer, sorry. Phil Glover will come over the line in 11th place, and Chris Max Davis, who is right the way around the other side of the circuit here, is bringing up into 12th. So good run from Max Davis. He obviously doesn't have the pace to stay with the guys in front, but through luck, he still finished in 12th. Barry out, LeMay, Rollo, Gordon, Maxwell and Buson. So well done, Chris Max Davis. He's kept the car on the track and has managed to bring it over in 12th place. So not a bad run at all for him.
And this kind of goes back to what I was saying at the end of the first race, actually. It was not really like Laguna Seca, the opening race, because everybody got to the end, but this time only 2/3 of the field have gotten to the end, which is much more like this circuit, much more like what you'd expect from around here. So there we are. Chris Max Davies goes over the line, and that will be your race. 18 laps from Laguna Seca now complete, and it was George Gonzaga who took the win. Jamie Bird, Seth Brown and Sergio De La Cruz involved in a great battle for second, with Simon Edwards running up the top 5, only gaining one singular point on John McCutcheon, who can be very happy with his day. Michael LeMay finished 7th ahead of Darrell Taylor, not far in front of Phil Jocelyn, who beat Wayne Palmer to the top 10. Then it was Phil Glover and Chris Max Davies, the final drivers to cross the line, ahead of James Barry, David Royston, Paul LeMay, Paul Godden, Luke Maxwell and Mike Booson at the end of that race. Let's start with one of the drivers who unfortunately didn't get to the end of this race, Paul Godden, who can join us now. Welcome in, Paul. Good to have you with us. Just tell us a little bit about that second race and unfortunately what led to you not making it to the end.
Yeah, evening, guys. Yeah, no, it's started off as a good evening. The first race was really enjoyable, racing around the back of the pack with Phil and Wayne Palmer, very close on our time. So it wasn't really anywhere really to overtake without doing anything stupid. And went into the second race hoping to have a similar battle with the same people. And somehow we managed to get a cracking start and got 2 or 3 places on the line, and I thought, oh, we were up in the middle of the pack here, and it was all going really well. And then, unfortunately, I'm not sure who it was yet. I need to have a look at the replay, but someone tried to come around the outside on the corkscrew and lost it, and ended up just coming into my path, and I had nowhere to go, and that was it, and it was race over. So we did have a fast repair, but I'd lost too much time then, so it was no point carrying on, unfortunately.
I think was
It was James Barry. Yeah, Barry went round the outside.
Yeah, I watched it back earlier. I was a bit annoyed, but I haven't actually watched it back properly from different angles yet.
But I will say for him, Paul, Bird did lose it in front of him. So,
yeah, Paul was off as well. Yeah, so the guy in front was off. Yeah, I braked a little bit early, and it all went, and yeah, we never made it around the corner. So it was just as it come back on, there's nowhere to go. But these things happen, so you just have to put it behind and move on to the next one.
Yeah, certainly. Speaking of the next one, it's at Jerez in Spain. Do you have the circuit, first of all, because it's quite new? And how much have you driven it, if you have at all?
I don't actually own that circuit yet, so it'll be a really interesting one to go and try. I love learning new tracks, and this isn't one of my favourite tracks. I've never got on with this place at all for some reason. I just can't click around here. So hopefully a new fresh track. People wouldn't have driven it that much either, maybe. So hopefully we're all on a more level playing field, and I can be at a better pace like I was at the last one at Knock Hill.
Yeah, that'd be nice to see. Paul, congratulations on the first race, at least, I guess, and thanks very much for coming to chat to us at the end of the day as well.
No problem. It's still an enjoyable night and still got a big smile on my face. That's the main thing. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes,
cheers, guys.
Thanks very much. Paul Godden there, unfortunately, out of the second race here tonight. One driver who certainly wasn't, though, was George Gonzaga, who can join us now. We're very glad to say that. George, welcome in. Good to have you with us. Race winner in race 2. Tell us a little bit about that race and how you came to stumble on the lead there, which sort of happened in front of you.
I'm going to be honest, I have no idea. That's the answer, but it's I was really lucky on race 1, like with the incident with Seth and Paul. I was already thinking, okay, I'm going to end up 11th, so it is. I'm Mr. 11th now. Managed to get an 8th on the first race, and then David and Simon. I tried to manage the gap, not to stay too far behind, but I don't know. I think it was unlucky of David getting the gravel like that, and I don't know. The car reacted really quick and took out Simon, which was really unfortunate. So I'll be very happy, but I'm not gonna celebrate too much. It's not due to merit. It was an eventful race, but I'm gonna take it. So yes.
Absolutely, yeah. I think you should celebrate no matter what. So there we are. About this circuit, then, you mentioned there that you thought you were going to finish 11th in that opening race. I think everybody would have been expecting that, but there was all sorts going on at the final corners just up in front of you. What were your feelings going into this race? Did you think this was going to be a track where you were going to see good results?
Absolutely not. I hate this track. Like, it's the worst track of all the iRacing. I really hate it. It's like super slippery. It's so tricky. Like, there's no grip on the braking. So I was really having not expectations. I'm like, okay, mid-pack, that's what I'm going to think. And maybe get on the 10th to be on the front on the second race, which happened. Was lucky. And, but it is Laguna Seca, so it has its pros and cons, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. I've got to say, I don't particularly enjoy driving it either that much. So there you are. I don't think you'll be alone in that opinion either. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, George, before we let you go?
Well, again, to the league, you guys, the usual, the effort you put in, Daryl as well, putting this every week, and and just a comment to James. It feels good sometimes to get out of the way. And this is the result of it.
Definitely is.
But it was really good. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. Yeah.
Cheers.
Great result.
Thanks very much. George Gonzaga, the winner of race 2 here this evening. We look forward to seeing you next week as well.
Okay. See you guys. Thank you.
Thanks very much. George Gonzaga there at first place in race 2, just ahead of Jamie Bird, who we can also bring in here. Jamie, welcome in. Good to have you with us as well. Second on the day for you. You had quite a lot of defending to do in that second race as well. Just tell us a little bit about that second race of the 2 and your defence of second place.
The seas parted for me, and everybody knocked each other off, and I ended up in second. I didn't have enough pace to catch George, but then Seth was right behind me, and Sergio was catching him, and luckily Seth has a vehicle you can see the colour of in your mirrors all the time, so I knew exactly where it was going to be. And I was probably a truly trained, to be honest. I was doing what I could, try and stay ahead, try and nail the last corner and nail, was it turn 5 going up the hill. But no, he did well. He didn't try anything, didn't try to send anything. I probably would have let him go if he did, because he definitely had the pace on me.
Yeah, but you kept him behind for a very long time. Just what were the things that kept you in front specifically? It's not a circuit that's easy to overtake on. So was it a case of just kind of doing your thing and that was enough?
I don't know what my thing is. If that is something.
Just driving, I guess.
Yeah, I tried to nail the exits on the corners onto the longest straights, but he definitely had some speed on me. I think it was turn 4 going up under the bridge. But there's nothing you can do with short shoot to turn 5. So luckily then Sergio started catching him and they had a bit of a battle, which probably took the pressure from me a little bit. But when he came back at the end, I just managed to hang on.
It certainly did. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, Jamie, before we let you go?
It's rude to say the other guys were falling off. So
you can do that.
Yeah. Thanks to everybody else for letting me finish in the top 3 once by pulling off the track. Let's say that.
There we are. I would take it. I'm not knocking it at all. Congratulations on second place, Jamie, tonight, and thanks for chatting to us as well.
Nice one. Cheers, Ewan.
Thanks very much, Jamie Bird there, second place in race 2. Pretty downplaying his achievements, to be honest, but everyone is tonight. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, let's see if John McCutcheon does the same. I doubt it. He joins us now, having second in race 1, 6th in race 2. Welcome in, John. Good to have you with us as well. An eventful night for you, I would say, but would you say a success overall with 2 decent races, second place and 6th?
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Eventful, that's for sure. Certainly plenty going on. But that's a tight track like this. Is going to get incidents. So that happens, doesn't it?
Yes, it certainly does around here. I mentioned it at the end of the first race, actually, that I was very surprised that none of that kind of thing happened in the first race. You certainly made up for it in the second. What was the thing that unfortunately set you off course in that second race and put you all the way down the order?
My own stupid mistake, outbraked myself, going into the corkscrew, and then lost 2 places, and then get caught up in an incident after that. That put me at the back of the grid.
What was your view on that incident there? Because we could not work out for the life of us what was going on between Barry and Maxwell. Someone was, almost looking like they were going into the pit lane, slowing down when they're, way early for a corner. We couldn't understand what was going on.
It was serving a slowdown apparently, which you do. You take it off the line, fair enough. But I think Luke must have been going for a pass, didn't realise, and Luke hit the back of him, and he come across and wiped me out as well. That was just bad luck, I guess. Yeah,
it was bad luck for everyone. Fortunately, you came off actually the least scathed, if that's a thing, of the 3 of you. So I guess that worked out all right. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, John, before we let you go?
A shout out to George on I think that's his first win. I'm not sure, but it might be his first
don't
win.
Ask us about that.
So well done to him. And Jamie and Seth for getting second and third.
Well done to him if it's his first win or not, because we can't help you at all there, John. I'm sorry.
We never get it right, Ewan, so I think for that point of view, we just say it was.
Maybe ask him, he'll tell you.
I'm steering well clear of first and first win since and all this kind of thing. Anyway, we'll work it out later. John, congratulations on a successful evening for yourself, and we'll chat to you next week, I'm sure.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thanks very much. John McCutcheon there joining us after tonight's racing at Laguna Seca, once again digging us holes that we can't get out of because we don't know historical information. Anyway, let's bring in Phil Glover as well to round off our interviews this evening. Welcome in, Phil. Good to have you with us. We didn't see a lot of you tonight, I've got to say. How was it?
Let's have a look. First race, didn't ripple penny trees there. 16th, I think, and I started 16th, so basically finished where I started, I guess. And race 2, I thought I was doing pretty well, actually. I was up to about 10th. But then I got a bit depressed when I noticed there weren't many people running anymore. So I thought I was doing really well. But then, mind you, I suppose you've got to keep going to being with a shout, haven't you? So I suppose, what did I finish?
You finished in 11th.
11th, I think.
11th. Well, that's reasonably respectable. My only wish is I could do something about my qualifying. My qualifying is just hopeless. Once I get going in a race, it's often not too bad. I seem to focus, but qualifying, I just can't seem to put 2 laps together, or 3 laps in this case.
Yes, 3 laps. What do you think it is, though? Is it because obviously I was never a qualifier. To be fair, when I was a driver, I was always making up places and wishing I'd qualified better by the end of the day. What do you think is down to? Is it just kind of your style, really, that kind of prefers to drive for a longer period of time rather than qualifying, which is very short in reality?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether a little bit more weight in the car suits my driving. But obviously with qualifying, you tend to run, obviously not much fuel. And I don't know whether that kind of upsets the way I like to drive, perhaps. I very often will run a little bit more fuel than I need to, just to keep a little bit more weight in the car. But yeah, I don't know, to be honest. If I knew that, I'd be up there with the rest of them, wouldn't I guess.
Well, that is true, unless the answer is you just need to be quicker, in which case that's a bit more difficult.
No, that's one of the answers.
That's a bit more difficult to rectify, unfortunately. I found that, funnily enough.
I can see why you're a commentator.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. We're going to Jerez next week. Oh God, I've started this sentence again. I don't believe we've been there in the Radical Race Series before. Have you? Do you own Jerez, Phil? Have you driven much on it before?
Jerez? Where is that?
Spain.
Out of Mongolia or something.
Spain.
It's
in Spain.
I was going to say, is it dirt tracks? Because if it is, that might suit me even better. No.
Clearly you don't own it, Phil, because you don't know where it is.
I don't own it. So I'm going to have to speak very nicely to the missus.
Yes. Anyway, a bit.
Is it short? Is it quite a short, twisty track?
It's kind of medium length, really. Used to hold F1 races back in the 90s and so on. So it's fairly wide, I would say, for these cars, but fairly flowing, almost in a Barcelona sense on steroids. A very, very, very flowing circuit. There's almost no straights at all. So yeah, we'll see what you think of it next week.
Any of those steroid drugs.
That's what. Well, it has done.
I'm going to obviously not be that quick there.
It's an interesting circuit. We'll see how you get next week. But thanks for joining us once again, Phil. Been good to chat to you, and I'm sure we'll see you next week.
You will. Yeah, take care, guys. Enjoy the sunshine. Cheers, bye.
Thanks very much, Phil Glover, joining us out. I don't know what sunshine he's talking about there.
I don't know. It's been raining all day where I am along, so I'm not sure where he's living, but wherever he is, let me go there. Yeah.
I've not seen the sun for ages, but anyway, that's an English thing. Anyway, thanks very much for joining us here this evening and tuning in, Laguna Seca. It's been a very, very interesting race indeed. It's been good to come back to the circuit that first hosted sprint and feature format racing all that time ago. It feels like a lifetime ago since we started this, and the times where we only used to do one race in an evening seems like it was another world. But we've got this format now, and we've got it because of the drama that it throws up, like we've had this evening.
Yeah, definitely. It is always a circuit that causes problems for people, but it caught out a lot of people that we wasn't expecting. Obviously Buson did it himself. Maxwell was involved in the incident with Barry and McCutcheon and Rollo and Edwards, and it was all a little bit messy in race 2. But I think Laguna's a great circuit in general. Once you nail the corkscrew in turn 6, I wouldn't have recommended too wide there for Simon Edwards, but he's a racing driver. I'm a commentator. That's all I'm going to say on that one. Off to a ref next week. That should be exciting.
Yeah, it certainly should be. I'm looking forward to going there, and judging by the amount of people that don't have it, I'm going to say that it's the first time we've been there in the Radical Race Series, because I don't remember it either, but let's not go off memories any longer. As I say, thanks for joining us here this evening. Thanks to all who've been watching along in the YouTube chat and so on. Make sure you subscribe, of course, and check out all the other racing that is going on over the course of the week here on the JPB YouTube channel. But we'll be back at the same time, same place next week, Thursday, 9 p.m. UK, roughly, for the start of the Radical Race Series every week. So we hope to see you then, but until we see you in Jerez in 1 week's time, I've been Ewan O'Leary alongside James Parfitt, and it's goodbye for now.